Welcome to your beginner ballet course. Here I'll be showing you some of the ballet basics. If you're completely new to ballet, you're making a great decision, as ballet will most probably change your life for the better. You'll find muscles you didn't know you had. You may well be able to finally balance when putting on those jeans. You'll improve your posture, your musicality, your flexibility, coordination. There's a long list, could go on. But the main thing you need to know is there are numerous health benefits, so this is a great decision. Not to mention, when you finally get over the hurdle of learning the language, understanding some of the technique, it gets fun. My name is Adam Ashcroft, and after graduating the Royal Ballet School, I've been a professional ballet dancer for the past 7 years. Now let's move on to the first module, how to look and stand like a ballet dancer. Okay, to stand like a ballet dancer. So we're going to start with the feet and we'll move up all the way to the head. If there's something you don't understand at this point, it's totally fine. I'm going to explain it after. So, starting from the feet, I'd like you to stand in first position. You don't know what it is yet. This is first position. To get into first position, we will stand in parallel, like this. Pull the weight back onto the heels, and then turn out from the tops of the legs. Turn out from the tops of the legs. Do not plie, then turn out, and then straighten the legs, because this will put more pressure on the knees and the ankles. There's more flexibility in the bent position than there is in the straight position. So be safe, down. When you're in this position, you're going to try not to drop the arch down and roll forward here. What you want to try to do is feel the rotation from the hips outwards, and then feel the outside of your heel to the ball of your foot. Feel that spiral. I know this can feel kind of tricky at the beginning, so don't worry if you don't understand. It's okay. So now we'll move up from the first position, that first spiral. We're going to move up to the shins, the knees. So the direction of the shin, this shin bone here, should be pointing to the second toe, so the middle of the foot. So if the shin is twisted like this and pointing out in front, that's not good. You don't want that. So we've got the feet, rotation of the feet. We've got the shins pointing to the middle of the foot. Now we move on to the hips. So the coccyx is the bone at the bottom of your spine. So I'd like you to imagine that that bone is pointing to the ground. So in other words, do not have a slight tilt this way or a slight tilt that way. Try to completely go down to the floor, right there. For some people it's very difficult to get it to point straight down, straight away. So if you have a tilt here or here, don't worry about it. You can work on it to make it more aligned. So it's totally fine. So to maintain this positioning of the hips, I want you to aim for a engagement of the abs and glutes of about 30%, like just enough to support it, but not so much that you'll super engage and over tense like 100% for 5 seconds and then you'll completely relax it. So think even less, like 10-15% engagement of these areas, just enough to support the spine and protect the area. You'll understand more about this when we start doing more ballet, but for now, rotation of the feet, shins out, hips completely flat, and then slight engagement there in the abs. So you can't just allow it to spill out like this. Got a little bit just to keep it there, but not all the time, just a tiny bit. So now we have the ribs, okay? So we've done the hips, we've done the abs, slight engagement. Now we move on to the ribs. So I want you to imagine from the bottom of your rib, you have a string attaching to the top of this hip. So this string is tight, and if you were to move in any direction, like detaching the hips from the ribs, that string would snap. So try and keep this imagery in your head. Do not snap the string. So rib cage above the hips. So rotation in the feet, shins over the second and third toe, hips flat, abs slightly engaged, and ribs and hips string attached. Okay? Now we move on to the shoulders. Okay? So what you want to think of when you're thinking of your shoulders is that they're pulling to the side, they're pulling a little bit backwards, and they're pulling downwards. Okay? So you're doing that while maintaining this string in the front with the ribs. Okay? So it's easy to think pull backwards. That means I'm gonna allow the ribs to come out like this, but that would be breaking the string. So maintaining that string, ribs, hips connection, you're also gonna pull your shoulders side, down, and back, or side, back, and down. Just do all three. So it doesn't matter how you think of it, but make sure those three are happening. And you'll feel this V in your back, really wide open. Okay. For the positioning of the head, you want to imagine that your head is a balloon attached to a string, and it's perfectly balanced. So not slightly forward or slightly back, it will be at the point with the least amount of resistance. So if you were to tilt the head in any direction, it would become more difficult to balance it, be more work on one side. You want to find the place with the least amount of work. So be careful because the neck is fragile. So if you have any neck problems, you need to really warm it up a little bit before you do this. But most people stand a little bit too much here, including me. And I do need to think about this as well. So, not here, not too far back, be careful. Usually side or side is not a problem, but if it is a problem, make sure you're looking into a mirror and finding exactly where you need to be. Okay, I know it's a real lot to think about. Okay, I know this is difficult. So if all of it doesn't go in, don't worry about it. You have time to re-go over this video, and you have time over however long you're doing ballet, forever, hopefully. You have time to increase the coordination of all of this. 1% every day, a little bit more connection in certain areas. It'll take a while, but you'll get it eventually. And if you can get it today, that would be brilliant because you'll be miles ahead of the competition. Okay, lastly, we have the eyes. So, the eyes should be in the middle of wherever the head is. So if you're looking to the side, the eye should be in the middle of that. You do not want the eyes to be going to a direction that the head is not going to. The reason for this is you look like you don't know the exercise if you're in a ballet class. You also, if you're on stage, you'll look a bit shifty, like you're an evil character. If you are an evil character, then totally fine. You can be as shifty as you want. But for now, in ballet class, we're training to be good, not the evil character. Okay? So, eyes in front. And no searching, being curious around the room. Another reason is if you are looking straight ahead and you're trying to balance, for example, if you were to then look around, you're changing the information that your brain is getting. So it's making it more difficult to calibrate the balance.